Former President Barack Obama is fundraising right now. He is raising money, ostensibly, to boost more mail-in voting all across the country. Mail-in, not absentee ballots. This comes as 4 men were charged with voter fraud in New Jersey, 2 Democratic city council members, 2 others associated with their campaigns by the state attorney general for stuffing ballots in mailboxes, including in a neighboring town. No voter fraud, the Democrats say. Get the feeling they live off of it. Joining us tonight, former Kansas Secretary of State Chris Kobach. He's running for the U.S. Senate in Kansas. Chris, it's great to have you with us, and I get a kick out of the Democrats who say, "Oh, there's no voter fraud." Meanwhile, the ballots are being harvested. The nonsense goes on, and the national left-wing media, complicit, compliant, they close the circle around it. No voter fraud here. Just close your lying eyes and move along. What are the Republicans going to do? And I don't mean in court. I know they're suing the hell out of everybody, but everybody can sue somebody.
Yeah.
But what are they doing physically to make damn sure that every polling station, every voting booth is secure and protected, and I mean with eyes on the ground?
Well, Lou, it varies from state to state, and President Trump and you are right to point to mail-in voting as the primary avenue or the primary venue of voter fraud. As you know, when I was Secretary of State of Kansas, we passed a law that I wrote that made Kansas the safest in the country, and I focused particularly on vote by mail. There are various forms of fraud that occur with vote by mail. You can intercept the ballot at somebody's mailbox. You can falsely request somebody else's ballot and have it go somewhere else. You can do ballot harvesting like we saw in that North Carolina race 2 years ago. And then if you have a state like Colorado or Washington or Oregon where it's mandatory mail-in balloting, then Katie bar the door. It's voter fraud on a massive scale because you have ballots going out to every name on the rolls, and nationally there are 24 million extra names on the voter rolls.
Shouldn't the Voting Rights Act division of the Justice Department be all over this? Shouldn't they be interceding here to assure, the president this week talking about the fact this country voted in World War I, World War II, and now we've got this virus, and suddenly Barack Obama is the poster child for mail-in voting? Come on, this is just, it's disgusting what they're trying to do.
It is interesting how the Democrats are pushing so hard. Of course, their ultimate goal will be mandatory mail-in voting all across the country, which would just be horrific. Let me just give you one example, Lou. When Colorado adopted mail-in voting a few cycles ago, one of the members of the state legislature got 2 ballots, one in her married name and one in her maiden name. The problem with mandatory mail-in voting is it goes to millions of illegitimate names on the rolls, people who've moved away, people who have changed their name, people who are deceased, and people who are not U.S. citizens. And so, fortunately, President Trump would veto any mandatory mail-in law or bill. But the problem is if President Trump were to lose re-election, I guarantee Joe Biden would sign a bill mandating mandatory voting for all 50 states. So it's imperative that Republicans win this election to stop it.
And one of those Republicans is a guy named Chris Kobach. How's your election going? We got just about a minute, Chris.
It's going very well, Lou. It's going to be close, but Kansas has an opportunity to put in someone who's a conservative, me, who can stand up to people like Mitt Romney and the other rhinos you mentioned in your previous segment. It's not enough that we have a Republican majority. Yeah. I mean, they've been pushing amnesty, and you and I have fought against amnesty for many years. It's not enough that we have a majority of Republicans. We have to have a majority of conservatives, so we don't have to constantly be fighting Republicans who are pushing for amnesty. So it's going well, but I appreciate your attention to the issue of immigration, Lou. You've done great.
Chris Kobach, as always, great to talk with you. Thanks for being here.